Blog Talk Radio.
Check out the full episode of this on MENTELLECT Patreon.
In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust. As the Mesoamerican community, the only American community that's being established in this day and time, in the wilderness of North America. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual NUBEN MENKARAYZZ. This is Mesoamerican Radio. Mesoamerican Radio. And tonight we're going to be talking about the United States. Is it the United States of America, or the United States in America? It is the United States in America. In America, not of America. In America. Okay? Because America was already here and was already established. Okay? America was already here and was already established. So Caucasians did not come here and establish America. They did not come here and establish America. What they came here and established was the United States. You see? And it was not formed by people who were American natives, You know, the term American citizen is a term that is utilized really for immigrants who get citizenship in America. You have American nationals, or so-called Native Americans, people who are nationals of the society, and then you have citizens of the society. Everyone who came from someplace else is a citizen of America, not an American. People that came from or immigrated from someplace else are not natives to America. Okay? Please understand that. But I want it to be made clear that the people who are really nationals of America, natives of America, these are the people who are the real people who are of American nationality. Is it the United States of America or the United States in America? It's the United States in America. This United States is not a part of the American landscape or anything. This was an implanted system. This was an implanted system here. The United States was a planted system in America. It's not American because the true Americans, the national Americans, the real indigenous Native Americans, which are so-called black people, had no real hand. Well, they did have somewhat of a hand in it, but not a controlling hand. Let me just put it that way. That's why, if you notice, they let Benjamin Banneker. Now, question, does Benjamin Banneker even fit into the narrative that we came over here on slave ships? Why would they get a so-called African black man to lay out the foundation and do the architecture and the layout of Washington, D.C., something that requires you to know how to do math very well, survey really well? How could a so-called African do all that if y'all wasn't educating so-called black people? Does that make sense? Does George Washington, what's the guy who did the, Benjamin Banneker, I'm sorry. Does Benjamin Banneker even sound like he came off of a goddamn African slave ship? Does he even sound like he come off of Benjamin Banneker? Does he even sound like he come off of an African slave ship? And they ain't saying that he came from no damn, no England, and and they're not even saying he African. They're gonna come out and just tell you he's Native American, but they'll try to make it seem like he's mixed with some black and Indian. Well, no, he is just that bronze copper color. He's a descendant of that. You see, so they did have in the background certain things in the help in the formation of America that the beast used, and so-called black people from the time of fighting the English and to the backbone of the government went through Freemasonry. So, in the background, you had black people, they utilized black people, they didn't have a controlling hand. What is the difference? The difference is one is created by those people who are natives and one is created by people who are not. The ones who create a United States in America, those are the people who are not of it. The people who create one of America are the people who are of it. So the white man's lying when he creates a United States of America, because he's not of America. He's not a part of America. Who are the real Native Americans? We are, so-called black people. Not the Mongoloid Indians. You are the real Native Americans through your Mesoamerican ancestry. That's the oldest people that have been on this land. The white man has acknowledged that the Mesoamericans are older than the so-called Native Americans. He acknowledges that the Mesoamericans, the ancient Americans, were here before the so-called American Indians. Can immigrants really set up a flag in the land that they're not native to? No, they cannot. You see, that's why it's a United States flag, not an American flag. The flag the white man got is a United States flag. It's not an American flag. That's why they fought with the federal government, fought with the South, to keep the United States flag up. You see, they didn't want people who were supposed to be under the white United States government to have different flags, because then that represents tribalism. And that means that's a crack in their control and in their armor. That's why they had to put the South down and destroy the South. What is the real meaning of American nationality? Those who are natives to this country, those who are nationals, those who are Americans by nationality, and that's really just us so-called black people who are falsely being called African American or falsely being called black people. That blackness is just to hide our American nationality, which the word American comes from the Mayan people, which is our people, part of the Mesoamerican heritage. So America was used by our people first, so-called black people. For the complete broadcast, you're going to have to go to MENTELLECT Patreon. Go to MENTELLECT Patreon for this complete broadcast, because it will not, I guarantee you, it will not be on YouTube. Subscribe to MENTELLECT Patreon and join the Mesoamerican community.
It's the Republic of MENTELLECT, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of MENTELLECT, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we